Alright, so what's poppin', everybody? It's your man, Young Ida Costello, back again with another video. Now this video is going to be another album review, and today's album that I have to review today is going to be J. Cole, For Your Eyes Only. Now keep it real, we all know about J. Cole. I myself was put on J. Cole kind of like my 8th grade year going into my freshman year of high school. You know, got put on the warm-up, got put on Friday Night Lights. The warm-up is actually a wonderful mixtape, so if you guys haven't checked out the warm-up, I recommend that you guys check out the warm-up because that's probably J. Cole's best project in my opinion to date. I know a lot of people like Friday Night Lights, but Friday Night Lights compared to the warm-up, nah. But out of nowhere, the man J. Cole dropped 2 singles and said that he was dropping a new album, and I was really interested and I was really happy to really take a listen to it. Now actually the 2 singles that he dropped, one was called False Prophets and one was called Everybody Gotta Die. False Prophets, yo, he took a jab at a couple people. I'm sure we all know who he took a jab at, but he also released a song called Everybody Gotta Die, which honestly I think might be the best song in 2016. When that song dropped, the video attached to it, when that song dropped and I heard it, I played it back to back to back to back to back.
One eternity later.
To back, like 20 different times. Like I know every single word of that song now, and the song like just dropped. And one crazy thing is that those 2 songs were looked at as kind of snippets in Cole's point of view. He wanted to put those 2 songs out, then get the album out, which is a completely different project. None of those 2 songs are included in the project whatsoever. And like I said, going into this album, I was really happy. I was really excited. I was pumped up. I was antsy to listen to it. And then when I heard it, I kind of got all kinds of mixed feelings. This album is probably the hardest album that I've had to review this year, because the album's not bad, but then again the album's not great. But then if you listen to a couple songs, you'll start to think, god damn, I don't want to hear this shit. But then when them other songs come on, you'll start to think, okay, this shit kind of dope. This album is real up and down in a way. I feel like the songs go together, the songs are real consistent with each other, but the messages in the songs might not be as consistent as you think it is. J. Cole throughout this album is telling a story, and the problem that I have with the story that J. Cole is telling is just the storytelling aspect of the story. I mean, like, you compare this J. Cole album storytelling to like a To Pimp a Butterfly or even a Wolf by Tyler the Creator, or like a Logic Incredible True Story. And the storytelling in all 3 of those are way better than the storytelling in For Your Eyes Only. It's like for you to really get the storytelling of this album, you gotta go deep in the rap genius, you gotta study lyrics, you gotta study everything, you gotta study what happens in his life. And honestly, that's not something that everybody really wants to do. As far as the production, I think that the production is nice, but the only thing with the production is that you have to be in the mood to listen to this kind of production, because I don't feel like you could really just listen to this all the time, because I love J. Cole so much. I liked his last album, but to keep it a buck, to keep it honest, if you listen to this all the time, you're going to fall asleep 85% of the time. I'm just being honest. The production is really slow, the production is really moody, but then again it has some nice little beat breaks and progressions going throughout it. So I'm a fan of the production. The only thing is that you just have to make sure that you're awake to hear the production, if you know what I mean. Now as far as lyrics on this album, I think that J. Cole delivers a lot of the times on this album. I never really know J. Cole to give struggle bars or give cringy bars. I don't really know, but what I will say is that during this album, that man J. Cole showed a crazy amount of versatility. With a lot of the songs, J. Cole does not rap with the same flow. He uses a different flow for each and every song, and that's something that I think that if you guys haven't noticed, that you guys should actually take a step back, re-listen to it, and just hear it. He uses a different flow in every song. And one thing that he did a lot more in this album that he didn't do as much in his other projects is sing. This homie is singing symphonies, my dog. Like, oh my god. As far as his singing voice, I think that sometimes his singing voice is pretty good, sometimes his singing voice is tolerable, but then sometimes his singing voice is like dookie. If you listen to the song She's Mine Part 1, the little background vocals where he's like, I'm falling in love, that's kind of dookie to me. But overall, as far as his singing just isn't bad. It's just bad at times. The best song and my favorite song on this album, in my opinion, has to be Neighbors. I think that that beat, that nice little mystical wavy beat with that flow that J. Cole uses over it, is super dope. It's honestly the most hype track on the album. It's honestly a banger, and it's honestly the most standout song from the rest of the songs. in the album. Now, if you get to how the album finishes pretty strong. And what I don't understand is why the last song finishes more detailed than the rest of the album. Like, why should I have to research what happens from the beginning of the album to the end of the album, then get to the end of the album and him actually break everything down in the best way? Why can't I just be guided through it instead of having to be like, what the hell is going on throughout the album and then get told what the hell is going on at the end of the album? It's just storytelling, bro. Tell your shit right. But like I said, the album does finish it strong. He gets super personal. He gets super detailed. And that's something that I really liked about the last song. But the song that's on this album that made me think, what the fuck did you make this for? Has to be Folding Clothes. I mean, the beat is cool. I like the beat. I like the progressions on the beat. What the fuck did you make that for? Like, I get it. You're in love with your girl. You're married with your girl. And you guys are folding clothes. And you get to fold clothes for her. But I don't give a fuck. And it's just that thing with J. Cole. I'm a big fan of J. Cole. I like J. Cole. I've been listening to J. Cole for years. But it comes to a point that when I'm listening to J. Cole that I always think, bruh, I don't feel like listening to this. Put some Lil Yachty on. Am I wrong for that? I don't know. Am I wrong for that? I don't know. But as far as this album, if I had to grade it, I have to give it a strong 7. This album was just, yeah, for Cole standards. It's definitely a grower. You definitely have to listen to it more than once to actually get the full view. And you definitely have to listen to it like 17 times for you to actually get the full story. As far as if I like this better than Forest Hills Drive, no, not really. And this leads me to another point. It's just like J. Cole doesn't ruin J. Cole. Like I said, I love J. Cole. But J. Cole's fans really ruined J. Cole for everybody else. It's like Kanye's fans. I love Kanye too. Kanye is probably like in my top 3 favorite people when he's not acting crazy. But J. Cole fans and Kanye fans, they stay looking at these niggas like gods. Like these boys are deities. Like I saw some tweet on Twitter where he's like, oh, you see why J. Cole and Jesus Christ have the same initials? What the fuck that gotta do with anything, yo? Like, I love J. Cole, but stop, bro. Like, just listen to the music, bruh. Just listen to the music, relax. And I also hate that when people haven't heard the rest of another person's catalog and they just get put onto the new album and they like what they've heard and they're saying that they like what they've heard, people want to call them a hype beast because they haven't reached back into the other catalog and listened to their older stuff. I've listened to older J. Cole stuff, but I don't have a problem if you just listen to this album and thought that you like it. People's tastes grow, people's tastes change. Stop being childish. But alright everybody, this is my review of the new J. Cole album. Like I said, the album was cool, it was alright, it could have been better. It's kind of like an airplane that has yet to take off, and you know it's going to get there, but it just hasn't gotten there yet. That describes this album. So, how did you guys like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was some trash? If so, put that in the comment section below. But without further ado, your boy Young Brissy just gotta say, hey, blessings, 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 and yeah, Chris